Are you tired of running around in ruins and goblin caves, searching for the training dummy just to figure out your damage? Maybe you've tried to figure it out, looked at this really complicated equation and thought, I'm good. But luckily I'm here to help with the ultimate dark and darker damage calculator. Simply just enter your stats into the red boxes, your spell damage and the scaling, and it will figure out all the numbers for you. Simply just follow the link to the Google Sheet in the description, go to File and make a copy for your own personal drive. From there you can enter all your stats, free craft builds and calculate your damage. Now let's get into some examples on how to actually use the sheet. There's timestamps below if you want to skip ahead to the physical damage, but first we're going to start off with magic. So let me show you how this works, starting off the magic damage. So here you can see all the boxes in red are where you need to enter your stats or the enemy's stats, as well as the base damage and the scaling of your spells. I've separated these tables into hit scan and AoE spells, on hit and projectile spells, damage over time spells, and something I like to call tick spells. So let's move on to an example. So here's an example kit. Let's just say we've got an epic spellbook with 6 magical damage. So we enter 6 in our stats here. Let's say we have 30% magical power bonus, so we enter 30% in here. And let's just say we have 1 add and 2 true damage. Let's say we want to calculate the damage for our lightning strike. We simply enter the base damage that we see here as 30 and the scaling as 1.0 or 100%, and then this will calculate the damage for us on the fly. Because lightning strike is an AoE spell, these aren't affected by location modifiers, so this is the damage it will always do whenever it hits. Obviously, of course, this will be affected by people that may have magic resistance and stuff like that, but typically that's not really something you need to worry about. Now let's move on to on-hit projectile spells. So in this example I'm using Bolt of Darkness. So if we just look on the wiki here and go down to Bolt of Darkness, just to give you an example of how you can look this up yourself. Bolt of Darkness deals 20 base damage with 100% scaling. So we'll go back here and to 20, 100% scaling again, so this is just 1. And now we know of our kit that we'll be dealing 36 damage to the body, 54 damage to the head, just under 30 damage on the arms, 22 on the legs, and just under 20 on the feet as well. Because on-hit and projectile spells are affected by locational modifiers, these are the kind of damage numbers you'll be looking at when you're hitting people with these kinds of spells. For damage over time, let's use Curse of Pain as an example. So as we can see here, we curse the target, inflicting 15 damage with 50% scaling over 8 seconds. So we have our 15 damage, our 50% scaling. You'll need to write this as a decimal, so just 0.5. Our duration is over 8 seconds, and that means that our total damage will be 22.2 over the duration, but our damage per second will be 2.78. And then finally we have Ray of Darkness, which is a tick spell, and what I mean by that is that the damage applies per tick. So looking here at Ray of Darkness, you're dealing 12 damage with 100% scaling per second in 0.01 ticks. So with that in mind, we're doing 12 damage with 100% scaling again with a 0.1 tick rate. So our damage per second, if we were to land all 10 of our ticks, would be 26 damage, and our damage per tick would be 2.64. Because this damage only applies when your crosshair is on the target and the damage is obviously ticking on them. I hope this makes sense. In the description there will also be a link to a Warlock calculations page. I've had this going since hotfix 56, so if you've been active in the Discord at all, I'm sure you've probably seen this at some point. But anytime Warlock is affected by any changes, I update this page. So instead of you manually having to figure this out and enter it per spell, you can just get them all here. It also has a Torture Mastery and Life Drain Healing calculation on here as well, so really helpful. And so for the physical damage calculator, very similar in terms of just changing the values in red on the page, but it's a lot simpler because you just have your weapon damage, you don't have any extra modifiers outside of perks and things like that. So looking at an example here, let's just say we have a purple longsword with 47 base damage, and we're using Sword Mastery. Sword Mastery gives you a 2 physical buff weapon damage, so you enter that number 2 there. And then let's just say you have 20% physical power bonus and 1 add and 2 true. Your numbers begin to look like this for the damage. because obviously knees are affected by locational modifiers. And obviously you can change the PDR of your opponent as well to see what kind of damage you'll be dealing. Maybe at some point I'll add Magic Pen and Armor Pen to these sheets, but for the time being, I think all we really care about is finding out how much damage we're actually going to be dealing. But in any case, if you're confused, you do have access to the wiki, which gives you a breakdown of all the different damage types in the game. But if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them for you. But yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful. I've been using this sheet quite a lot, especially when theory crafting builds and damage. And especially when patch notes come out, you can enter the numbers in yourself to figure out how badly something's been nerfed or how strong a buff has been. SDF, we're looking at you, bro. And I'm going to say it again for those of you that haven't been listening, if you want to edit the numbers, you need to go to File, make a copy, and save one to your drive. And again, that's File, make a copy, make a copy. If you request access to this page, I will decline it and I will block you, so don't do that. No, I'm just joking. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing. I post educational Dark and Darker content often, and I'm in the middle of working on a self-found Iron Man series, so you guys don't want to miss out on that. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Big love.